Hey guys! So last week we focused on writing equations from word problems, and this week we're going to focus on writing inequalities from word problems. Now, in order to write inequalities from word problems, you need to recognize some key terms or key phrases that are going to be in the word problems to help you know what's right. The first one is equal to. Now, you may just see this as is as well. Some other ways you might see this written is the same as or exactly. So same as or exactly. So if you see those words, you know to put an equal sign in your inequality. So that would make it an equation. The second one is less than. Now, if you just see a less than and there's no is, then it's just a subtraction problem. It tells you to subtract. But when you see is, it's telling you it's going to be less than, and you're going to use the less than symbol. Some other ways you might see this in your word problem are fewer than, is under, or is below. Now the next one is less than or equal to. So when you see is less than or equal to, there's a than there, but for this than, we don't switch it because it's talking about what sign you use, so we don't want to switch the variables like we would in an equation where we see than. In less than or equal to, you might see it written as no more than, or at most, or the maximum. So if you see those words, you know to write a less than or equal to sign in your inequality. The next one is greater than. Some ways you might see this in your word problem is more than, exceeds, or over or above. So if you see any of those words, it's going to tell you to make a greater than sign. The last one is greater than or equal to. And that's the symbol you're going to write. Some words you might find in your problems are at least, is no less than, or at the minimum. So those are some words, some key terms, key phrases to look for, and you'll know if you see those to write the greater than or equal to symbol.
All right, so now we're going to work on solving the word problems and setting up our inequalities from them. Our first one says 5 less than 12 times a number is less than or equal to 6 more than 10 times a number. All right, so our key phrase in this one says it is less than or equal to. So if we see is less than or equal to, we know that means we need to write our inequality sign. So what kind of inequality are we going to have here? Awesome, is less than or equal to. So let's write that down below. Perfect. So on our left side of our equation, we have 5 less than 12 times a number. We would write that as 12n minus 5. Because remember, when we see less than, we need to switch the order of the numbers. Awesome. So now on the right side of our equation, it says 6 more than 10 times a number. So we're going to write that as 10n plus 6. Awesome job. There's our first problem. All right, so now we have our next problem. It says, Keith has $500 in a savings account at the beginning of the summer. He spends $25 each week for food, clothes, and entertainment. Spencer has $350 in a savings account and spends $15 each week. Write an inequality that represents when Spencer has no less than Keith in his savings account. So in this problem, no less than is our key phrase to tell us what kind of inequality to write. So what are we going to write? Is greater than or equal to. That's right. So we need to write that underneath. Now, we're going to have Spencer on the left. So we're going to write Spencer at the top. And then we're going to have Keith on the right, because we want Spencer to have no less than Keith, right? So Spencer needs to be greater than Keith. So now, let's look at Spencer first. He has $350 in his savings account to start with and spends $15 each week. So if we are spending $15 a week, we're going to be subtracting. So we're going to write that as 350 minus 15W. Now let's take a look at Keith. Keith has $500 in his savings account and spends $25 each week. So we're going to write that as 500 minus 25W. And that's our inequality. Great job, everybody.
Hey, before you come to Math Workshop, make sure you finish all the rest of the problems on the notes page.